Okay. Okay, everybody. Hey, this is Elizabeth Garvish. We are here with LeGALS Drinks and Debate on Friday at 4:30. We've had some technical difficulties, so this is a recording that we're going to share later on today. So there's no interactive comments on this, but we wanted to go ahead since we're all ready for our monthly LeGALS Drinks and Debate. Everyone grab their glass of wine or tea or whatever you'd like to have. Cheers to you.
Oh.
Happy Friday, everybody. We started LeGALS Legal Entrepreneurs group as a way during COVID-19 to share resources, come together as women and mother entrepreneurs and share with our community. So it's a group of 4 lawyers right now, and we've been having a guest every month to come and join us. So Amna Shirazi is not here today, but I'll just introduce myself. I'm Elizabeth Garvish, and I am the managing member of Garvish Immigration Law Group. We are a employment-based and family-based immigration practice located in Atlanta, Georgia, but we serve clients globally, nationwide. We've seen our ability to serve people, and we've been doing this for years. Clients everywhere. During COVID, it was just confirmed how easy it was to do that. So we've learned and grown a lot during COVID, and I feel like, I know President Trump and the First Lady were just diagnosed with COVID-19. So we're still in the thick of this. We still all are in a place where there's lots of change, there's lots of uncertainty, and we need to support each other. So this is what LeGALS is all about. I'm going to introduce my guest first, and she's right here. This is one of my best friends in the world, Brandy Wright, and I want her to just talk a little bit briefly about who you are, and then we're going to come back to you and highlight you and then ask a lot of questions, and then we'll go to Lorena and Alyssa.
Okay, I'm Brandy Wright. I'm the founder and president of BLAKE Financial Counsel here in Atlanta, Georgia. We just celebrated our first year anniversary of being an entrepreneur. I have been in the financial planning industry for 22 years now, and I've gone from the boutique firm, the corporate firm, back to boutique, and now just on my own, which is a whole new animal. So
we're going to ask a little bit more about that experience after that. Alyssa?
Guys, as you can see, I have my co-counsel in and out of the frame today. Alyssa Whatley. I am a tax attorney based in Atlanta, Georgia, and we help taxpayers, mainly individuals and businesses, with disputes with the Internal Revenue Service and state taxing authorities. A sweet child with that bell. Also, I'm a working mom, which just makes life better, right? This makes it easier. So I can't wait to talk to you guys about our topic today. I think financial planning for business owners and women is so important. So I can't wait to talk to you and ask you some questions. So thanks for having me today.
No, I think a tax attorney and a bankruptcy attorney, you guys see this financial aspect, and Lorena was saying that before we started. So Lorena, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. So my name is Lorena Saedi. I am a consumer bankruptcy attorney here in Atlanta, Georgia. I've been practicing bankruptcy almost 20 years now, so I'm a dinosaur in bankruptcy land. I'm a mom. Got 2 boys, one 5th grade, one 7th grade, so I'm very busy with that. And also with my firm, I've been an entrepreneur since 2003. Had my own firm since then, and so I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly, I think, with every kind of financial decision. So I am really excited to talk to Brandy because I see a lot of things that come up with my clients, but even as a business owner, I mean, I can tell you war stories of colleagues that I've seen that have, tried to start firms and just, issues just due to poor financial planning. And I would love to just, to hear your thoughts on it. So I'm excited to ask you a ton of questions today.
Yeah, we're excited to have you here, Brandy.
Okay.
So, here, drink your wine. It's only a Zoom recording. It's only us.
We're going to start
asking us and a 1-year-old. We're fine. She's taking Amna's place this meeting. So she's a future legal.
Yeah.
So I guess you guys have some questions, but I want to know, since I know you were in the corporate world for a long time and now, you have this opportunity, maybe you got brave and maybe you were just like, this is the time. But how has life changed since you started your own firm? What were your feelings when you first started? And a year later, how are you feeling on how it's going? How is your personal life, life as a mom? You know what I mean? Like personal life as a mom. And do you feel like, oh, it's better, it's worse, or it's more, I feel freedom, or I'm just, I'll never go back? Or what's your initial reaction?
Never go back.
Okay.
Absolutely. Never go back. It's weird. I mean, so my venture into, and terrible. I didn't even say, yes, I'm a mom. Blakely is my six-year-old daughter, and she's the inspo for BLAKE Financial Counsel. So she will tell anybody who stops her long enough that that's, mommy named it after me. So, but when I had, in our field, you always kind of think about, one of these days, it would be nice if I could just do this for myself, because when you're in the corporate world, you do spend so much time. And after a while, you start to be able to see the breakdown of the time and effort that you put in and how much goes to the firm and how much goes to you. And so what would take 100 clients, and this, I'm just giving numbers, like say if you had 100 clients to sustain your lifestyle in the corporate world, may equate really and truly down to 25 in a business that's just your own. So there's, just that right there, being able to be more intimately involved with 25 families and knowing their details like the back of your hand versus 100. This also came about around, July of last year, and getting started in the business is one thing. I think that I was pretty, I don't know, can you say ballsy on the air? I don't know, but
yeah, you can
say whatever you want.
At the time, it was just like, I was just like, this is what I'm doing, and there was no question about it. So when I look back a year later, I'm like, wow, I really want that kind of gumption again, that kind of, I'm just doing it. And then the COVID era steps in, and I gotta say that if I had been in the corporate world and COVID had hit, it would have been even more miserable. Trying to balance a book of 100 plus clients, balance the expectations and worries of a corporate environment, plus be there for a child who is now homeschooling. And it would have been almost near impossible. Or, I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of families who have had to do this, but when I look back on it, I mean, if it had to happen, I mean, the stars just really aligned for me to be where I was. I could be at home. I could help Blakely. I have an 80-year-old mother. I mean, the concerns with her, and then I had a smaller number of clients so that I could keep up with them and their family. And I didn't have, this boss that was, his worries coming out in his, discussions with me and such. So honestly, it's a horrible time, but I was extremely blessed to be in the position I was during this.
I can tell you, I remember sometimes ignorance is bliss, I guess. And I know when I started my firm, I know a lot of people, and they overanalyze things, and they just keep telling themselves all the reasons why it's not going to work. It's not, and they talk themselves out of taking that step. And for me, I feel blessed because I was younger. I didn't have kids, and really ignorance was bliss. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna, my lifestyle wasn't such that, if I didn't have as much money as I was making at the big firm, I would still be okay. But I mean, it was really fly by the seat of your pants. I mean, I remember the first couple of years, it could be terrifying at times. I can only imagine that you have a child. Like it's even, I think, harder when you're, farther along in your career. So, I mean, I think that's amazing personally. I mean, I know that's so hard because that's such a big risk. And
I think that a lot of that too was I was so angry because my time was so strained, and I felt like I was missing out on so much of Blakely's life, her events. I felt like I was scurrying to get her ready for school, ship her off, and then maybe see her for a little bit in the evenings before she went to bed. And I just got, I think part of what that ballsy was anger. I was so mad.
I totally agree. I think everything, especially when you have kids, you start equating it to, okay, this is time that I'm not spending with my child because I'm doing something idiotic for someone else that really I shouldn't be doing because it's inefficient. All the reasons that we are like, I could do this so much better. And I mean, I think that's a huge motivator. And I will tell you, well, before COVID, I was probably doing one lunch a month with one of my, either one of my former colleagues from my previous, law firm, or a friend from law school, and I was having lunches to discuss that they wanted to leave. And most of the time it's because of their kids. It's like, I'm not there, and I'm sorry, the mommy guilt is huge. I mean, even having my own firm and being able to do my hours, I still have mommy guilt about a lot of stuff, because things have to get done. But I was having lunches at least once a week, once a month. And that was always the issue was, I feel like I can't be there for my kids, and I want to do my own thing just to control that aspect of it.
And I remember having a lot of the people who would be like, well, Blakely was in preschool. Preschool starts an hour later than kindergarten and first grade. And so it was, these people that I worked with who would be like, well, why is Brandy getting here late? And I'm like, because Brandy is still accessible by text and email and phone call at midnight, where you leave at 5 o'clock. Yep. But it was just that negativity that was in that environment that, I'm literally just angry and was like,
I'm sorry, let's face it. And I see this like at my kids' school. It's the moms that are doing most of the stuff. And, and my husband's great. I'm not bashing men, but we have to admit it. I mean, it's usually the moms that are dealing with the school calendar and this and that. So, I mean, I think especially when you're in a male dominated firm, they don't understand why it's why, like you said, why you're coming in a little bit late. They just, I think a lot of guys don't get it. And for good or bad, it is what it is. But I think most of that falls back to us.
But I think it's important for us as entrepreneurs, for me, I have an all women firm, and my biggest thing, and I have like a C-suite of, I have advisors and I make these decisions, but my biggest thing is making my staff happy. We're 3 of us are moms, other young women, will probably be moms, we'll have families. I want to maintain them here. I want them to know that, your time is valuable to me. I don't want you to have to quit your career to have a child. I've got another maternity leave that I've got a plan for coming up in February. I'm going to do it. I'm committed to that. And I think being in that other environment has really changed the way that I'm going to be. And you know what? I have a loyal workforce. I have a loyal staff. I love them. Because I'm putting them first. I'm almost turning, I'm not, what do I need? What do I need? I'm like, what do they need? They're my lifeblood. They're doing the work. They're executing everything. So it's vital. And I think we could give some lessons to some of these male dominated law firms about, and even people that think in a more in a more state of lack and not having enough, and you're going to take and this and that. But if you're in an abundant mindset, giving and doing all that stuff and providing for others, literally it's not a thing. And you get it right back.
And you're 200% right, Elizabeth, because, with the exception of my husband who works with me, we're an all women, we're an all woman firm. But I totally agree with you. That's one of the great things, I think, when you start your own firm, and you have to have an abundance mindset. And I think when you think of your staff as a team, right? I mean, you know, everybody, you know, well, most everybody in my firm have children. They might be caring for parents, you know, that have issues. I mean, the fact that we can create a great work-life balance and understand that, I mean, that for me, that's priceless. I mean, I can tell you my team's like family.
Yeah.
And there is something about that kind of relationship, you know, I mean, you know, we're attorneys and we're dealing with very important matters. And it's nice to know that the people that work for me, they take it seriously and they care about our company, you know, and I think that, like you said, I mean, you know, you want your team to, you know, to be able to have a flexible work plan, maternity, you know, to understand their needs. But I mean, I think you get it, you know, 3 times back, most definitely.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was able to leave. I went on a retreat to Idaho the week before, I guess last week. I didn't have internet access. I had to like walk around one area and get the phone. Like
That made me so stressed.
How did you survive
that? Because my team is amazing. And I kind of already knew it. I'm like, this is my goal. This is my goal. Like, I'm like, I can like create a law firm that will run without me. That is like my goal. So I can have this freedom. This is why we're doing all of this. And then, you know, I mean, same. And I tell them all, I'm like, you can have whatever vacation you want. You just be mindful of whatever and you get your work done. And then I also just instituted this bonus program, which is totally tied into our revenue monthly. So if we meet a threshold, and we've like exceeded it, like the last 2 months, like blew it out of the water. And I feel like, okay, we're on a roll, guys. I mean, this is great. And they're going to get these big bonuses on the 15th. I'm very proud of them. You know, not that I can't, I feel like kind of underwater, like anyway, and I'm behind from that, but I know it can be done and we're on our path. So, there's a lot of strength and like, you know, I feel like, Brandy's seeing that things can be done differently. I think we were all in firms and we saw things can be done better and differently. And like, you know, being able to like innovate and be creative and change and pivot is kind of what makes entrepreneurs like, cause that's what we do. And like, yeah, COVID comes. Okay. We're ready. You know, there's whatever happens in the immigration world, like through tweet or whatever it is. I mean, we're ready. We'll handle it. Same, you know, the economy goes bust, the tax laws change, everything. Like we're ready for that. So I think, you know, LeGALS have something. But, Alyssa, do you have a question for Brandy?
Yeah. Let's see here. So what do you think is the number one, I would say, financial advice you would have for young female business owners, right? Like I deal with a lot of people that start up businesses and obviously they don't think about professionals, which is how they landed my office, but they don't really just do it. They make the money and then they're like, well, I forgot to pay the taxes. Well, I forgot to plan for retirement. And I think a lot of like, I come from a line of financial advisors, so I know this information, but I feel like it's really important for business owners to know, hey, when I start a business, I get an attorney, you know, I get a CPA, and then the next step is financial advisor, like the financial planner, right? So what is your best advice for those types of people?
It was going to be, attorney wasn't the first thing I was going to say. The first thing was going to be a comprehensive financial planner and a CPA that works well with your financial planner. Because if those two work well, then they will work together on your behalf and you won't have two pieces of the puzzle who don't communicate. Because if that happens, then, I mean, you got to have that holistic approach. The one thing, definitely have the conversation. I mean, and there are financial planners out there who will help you even if you don't have money. I mean, I know for years I've taken on communications with folks who weren't there yet, but I knew they had potential. So I was more than happy to go ahead and have a conversation, once a quarter or something of that nature, just to get them going in the right direction. Because once you make it, every financial planner is your friend. You got to remember the one who actually was interested in you and saw your potential before you had the bank account. And so they're out there, and they will spend their time. They want you to succeed, and they will give you that kind of advice. But you're absolutely right. Quarterly estimated payments are your friend. I know that we don't want to do it. I mean, when you do your quarterly billing, or is whatever the case may be, you hate to write that check, but you've got to go ahead and get that out, because the last thing that you want to do is come around April 15th and then, whoa, surprise. And so
I know I recommend that to people too. Sometimes what I have to tell them to do is, quarterly is the minimum requirement. There is no maximum though. So a lot of people, and I'm sure you know this, being in your industry, some people have the I put it aside, but I like to touch it problem, right?
Oh.
Like they'll put it aside, but then I need something, or I put it aside and then I start dabbling with it.
Mm-hmm.
So for those people, I'm always like, you can make monthly deposits. You can make biweekly estimated tax payments. So like the people that have sticky fingers are like, don't have that willpower just to like put it out of their mind. I'm like, 4 is the minimum. You can make as many deposits as you want. Sometimes that helps. And then, it's really like those people that, they're the same people that like to withdraw money out of their 401k, right? Like,
right.
they just
so for
want
those
it.
folks, for those folks, you can go online to irs.gov, whatnot, set up a payment withdrawal system where it actually debits your bank on the 1st or the 15th of every month, and just let that start. So if it's withdrawn, you can't do anything about it unless you're at a zero, but go ahead and do that once a month. And so you're not actually pushing the payment, it's being pulled away from you. And that will keep you on track. And once it's in the IRA, you can't get it back unless you have a refund.
Yeah.
So set up that monthly automatic debit out of your business account, checking account, whatever the case may be, and do it for the 1st or the 15th. And once it's on auto, that will actually protect you or save you against yourself.
Yeah, I think that's what most people need, right? They need that safeguard against a lot of people. Now, some people are really good. The same thing with like saving and investing. I have to explain to clients, like I've had, 50, 60-year-old doctors that have zero money in their bank account, zero money in retirement.
Yeah.
It's all gone.
They plan to monetize the business sale, and that's their retirement.
Yeah. And it's just like, that's not the best option. You gotta have something, or they just spend it, and so I think there's a lot of people out there that have that self-control issue. But
so for on the retirement thing, what you can do for those who don't have that self-control and taking loans out of 401ks, taking loans out of IRAs, withdrawals, all that, you can do, if you have an LLC, you can set up a solo K. And solo Ks don't, for the most part, as long as you set it up, some places will allow a loan provision. Most places won't. Just set it up without a loan provision and set up a solo K. You do a monthly contribution debit out of your bank account. And once it's in that 401k, it's untouchable. The only way you could get it out, conceivably, is if you were to re-enter the corporate world, roll that 401k into that corporate 401k, and they had a loan provision. Or then you take a separation of service from that corporation, and then you could actually take the money out. So, but if you have that solo K, there's a lot more, it's 10 times more difficult to get at your money than if you were to just do a simple IRA or SEP IRA or something of that nature.
Yeah, so that might be I like that strategy, because a lot of my clients, right, need that, like, protect them from themselves.
If it's a solo K, is that
so for a solo K, I think
without employees?
Without employees,
yeah.
When you're just getting started up, you're correct. It could be the owner and their spouse. The spouse could actually have a solo K along with the owner. But once you get employees, then if you get a small business 401k, make sure there's not a loan provision in it.
So the solo K too, right? That's the one that has, like, you can actually sock away quite a bit of money in a solo K, which I always have to remind people, like, what can I do to reduce my tax bills? Like, save for retirement, that could help.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of times I'm referring people back to people like you, and it's, you know, you need a professional that's guiding on you on this every year, you know?
Yeah, and I can speak from, you know, I mean, just in a year's time, it was way too easy to be like, oh, you know what, I'll fund it next quarter. I'll fund it next quarter. And so I had to, even myself, do the solo case, so that I was like, you know what, be future Brandy's best friend right now and do this. And so I had to do it for myself.
Yeah, I like that tip. I think that's great for all new business owners and people getting started, and having that safeguard is definitely helpful.
Brandy, quick question. What about self-directed IRAs? What's your thoughts on those?
Too easy to get at in a heartbeat.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, you can. Right now, I've got IRAs at Schwab on my app. In 5 seconds, I can take a distribution on my app, and it can be sitting in my checking account right now. So,
but you'll have to pay tax on it.
You'd have to pay tax on it, but there are too many people who would be like, you know what? I'll worry about that on April 15th, which is a year from now, or whatnot. So it's too easy in a, you know, in a pinch of panic to do that. And, you know, and it will tell you, okay, it'll give you the election. Do you want tax withheld or not? So you actually have the option to not do any kind of tax withholding. So it's like the double, it's, you know,
oh, right.
So literally.
Those are my people.
I stay away.
Mine too, Alyssa.
Unless I have somebody like a family who are extremely disciplined, I know that they're never, like, literally it's either this IRA is, you know, just I'm taking advantage of, I'm going to be investing anyway, let me do it in this tax divert vehicle, I'm not going to access it, whatnot, then that's when we're using IRAs. If I have someone who I know that we've got to be a little bit of extra help on that discipline, I don't do IRAs.
Yeah,
it's too easy. It's too easy. In a panic minute, it's too easy.
Well, I have a question for you since I'm wrestling this person. What about 529 plans, right,
so
for college?
529 plans, I'm a huge fan of them in the state of Georgia, you know, because we do get a deduction on our income tax, Georgia tax return for $2,000, I think, or maybe it's even gone up now, but it used to be $2,000 per individual, $4,000 per joint filing. I do believe that's gone up.
I thought it was $4,000 each.
It
I just switched mine
now.
over to Path to Georgia, Path to college.
Path to college. So every contribution you make, you know, at least get that contribution or that deduction on your tax return. So I'm a huge fan of those, as well as the fact that it used to not be, but now if you get a college scholarship, say you get a scholarship for $5,000, you can withdraw that $5,000 and put it in your pocket without penalty. It used to be that some parents were like, I don't really want to put too much money in this, and then my child who's, you know, very gifted gets a scholarship, then what do I do? There's this haircut that comes back to me. So now you can, for every scholarship dollar, you can pull that back out. And the schools and the flexibility in what you can use a 529 for now is getting broader and broader. So, I mean, if the school needs it, like if the school says you must have a laptop or something of that nature, you can look to a 529, and now we can use them for private school and stuff as that. So I don't believe in, you know, putting a ton of money in them. But definitely, if you're a married couple, put the maximum that deduction you can get on your Georgia tax return.
A max every year.
So every
what do you
year,
think?
make that commitment every year.
Like, so let's say how much, like if your kids are, I mean, how much should we, is there a max out for the Path to college? Like
500,000, something like that.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure. You're not
per person?
I mean, as far as like what you can put in there, I don't remember the exact amount. But if you're looking for like a gauge of what it is, so what I kind of tell my executives or my folks is, if your children are going to be in college while you are still going to be working, and you know, and these folks may have stock options or restricted stock or something like that, then I say, all right, what we're going to do from now until sophomore year, we're going to put the deductible amount every year into this 529 plan. More than likely, we're going to pay out of cash flow with freshman and sophomore year. And then whatever's in the 529 goes to junior and senior year. If we have multiple children, let's put it in both accounts, let's keep every year, and then maybe the eldest child will pay for college right out of cash flow, put all of their balance into your youngest child's account, and then the youngest child will pay entirely for college out of the 529 plan. So we really have to run the numbers. I mean, there's a big difference if we're going to have someone who's looking at Georgia Tech versus Notre Dame. So just have to run numbers on that. But until you have if we're talking about children who are 5 years and under, just go ahead and game plan for that maximum deductible amount on your Georgia tax return per child going forward, until we start either seeing, we're going to have a pancake flipper, or we're going to have full-blown scholarships and go from there.
I mean, it's easy, like any of these, even your investment account, your retirement account. I mean, depending, you can put the max of whatever it is, $6,000. Like, just start. What I did I was like so proud of myself, but every month I just let it pull. And I was like, I know what I need to have for this year, and that's the max for this IRA. And then I have an investment account. So what do I want to, I'm just going to take it out, and it goes out. And I don't even think about it. And then I got the 529, so that goes out as well per child, and I know where I need that to be. But I'm just, I kind of wish I listened to this book. I mean, it's in the podcast, David Bach, Smart Women Finish Rich, which is a book that, if anybody's even my younger staff, I'm like, start saving, whatever it is. And I started a 401k for the office and matching, because start now, you're going to have a ton later on. And that's the whole principle of that book. I mean, and also being very mindful and aware of your financial, situation. I talk about money mindset, but it's being very, you're thinking about money. Money is something that's important. It's not something a lot of women might be like, oh, well, I'll just give that to someone else. I'm not going to handle that. It's not polite. It's not, for a woman to handle this money, or, I'm going to give that over. And we need to take our money, take our power, get educated, and be prepared for what's going to happen. And I feel letting fear and fear of not having enough, and fear of just handling money in some cultures, and for some people, it's oh, we can't talk about money. The families don't even talk about money. But for me, I've been working on my money mindset for a while now. And I was just thinking, the other day, I was like, I am abundant all the way. I'm there. I don't even it's if I want to do something, I just look at money. It's it doesn't have any power over me. It doesn't have anything. It's if I want to do something in my life, it's a way for me to make that happen. I don't have to hold on to it to feel better. If I let it go, I don't feel any different. I mean, I have the power to discount it to my clients, take on a pro bono case, to do whatever I want. And that's a lot of freedom. And, not oh, I feel so guilty, I should save, or I don't feel like that. I let that go. And it's the most freeing thing, honestly. And the more that I think in this abundant way, the more money comes to me. And so, I mean, I have a whole video I did, and I have some tips on that, but, and I'm still working. There's lots of great books you can read. There's a book called Worthy. And there's, what's the other book what's the other book on money mindset? There's a bunch of good podcasts and things like that. I can put them in the comments. But I usually list one in my newsletter that's either a mindset podcast, or the David Nagel Successful Mind podcast, or Marie Forleo. There's all of that stuff, putting all that content and reading about that, and really getting that out there. I mean, it would be great to provide those resources to a lot of your clients. I mean, I think even if we have a lot of money, sometimes it gets in the way of our happiness. So and I was speaking at our immigration conference on financial systems for solo and small law firms, which I don't even know that much about, but I talked about the money mindset aspect of it, and it got so much good feedback, because if you don't have your money mindset right, like if you are not in a good place with your relationship with money and how you think in the world, like you're going to be running into brick walls. You're not going to like, you're going to be scared. Oh, I can't do that. I can't save. Because I see it all the time. I'm like, yeah, you got to save. Just save, whatever, how much a week. Oh, I can't afford that. I can't do it. Oh, it's impossible. No, there's different ways to think about it. So I think that's our first thing, is to like really think in this abundant way. I mean, for me, it's been amazing. And I didn't always like grow up with parents that, I feel like they grew up in a different era, and, it was like more worry about things, and, like we have to save, and we, of course we do, but we don't have to let it, get in the way of our lives. I was telling my mom, I was like, yeah, I said, money's, it just is not going to matter. What matters is having a happy family life and doing the things that we want to do. And, working hard is important, and, to create that money, but it doesn't like control us. So I feel like letting some of that go is so helpful. But, I don't know. So we're going to probably just do another like 5 minutes, because this will be a shorter LeGALS. We don't have Amna today, and we also had technical difficulties. So is there any like final say that you would want to leave us with, Brandy, when, let's say you meet a client, and, kind of what's the most important thing that you're going to leave them with? What do you want them to what do you want to resonate when they leave after meeting with you? And particularly to women and business owners.
Ooh, okay.
Not to put you on the spot or anything, just one example.
Okay. There's so many, that's so broad. I don't know. I would say the biggest thing that I want people to feel after meeting with me or working with me is a sense of organization. There's nothing worse than feeling disorganized when it comes to your finances, because that insecurity or the fear of the disorganization can make it 10 times worse than it actually is. If you get organized, and even if it's a dire situation, if you're organized and you can address it, then you work through it. But if you are disorganized and you literally are getting hit with a surprise this or surprise that, then that just, it carries over into all the other areas of your life. And the best thing I can say is, if the finances are this big or this big, if you can be organized, you can address it and you can deal with things. And so I feel that one of the biggest things that I help people with is just really getting it all in one place, organization, and being able to put it in front of people in one sheet of paper and say, okay, this is everything, and it is here, and it's organized, and you can feel safe and secure that we're not missing something. So really getting organized is huge. You can have all the money in the world, and if you're disorganized, then you're going to pay excess taxes, or you're going to be lazy or lax with this or that, or you're not going to be taking advantage of all the benefits that you actually have. So getting organized is the biggest differentiator of success.
Yeah, I need to hire you. Yeah, and also, as busy like moms, business owners, this is outside our area of expertise many times. We may not know exactly, like, yeah, we get the advice, but are we doing everything? And it's like one of those things. As we have more employees, and as our businesses grow, and as we have more responsibility, it's really important to have a trusted advisor by your side. A trusted, my life is changing financially, because I have a CFO now, I have a bookkeeper, and I have my CPA, and then now I'm going to have Brandy. But I already had Brandy all along. But, it's just, yeah, it's sometimes as we grow, we can't do everything ourselves, and we need to seek out experts.
Yeah, and in having an expert that gives you a plan versus an expert or a financial planner that has a plan and then they assist you or do all the execution for you is the difference. Because I mean, all the most beautiful plans in the world, if you don't have time to do it, I mean, it's just taking up space on your desk. So you've got to have an engaged financial planner who says, okay, this is what you need to do. And oh, by the way, I'm going to take it through, I'm going to do all these steps for you. I just need for you to bless it as we go along. And that's what you actually need, is somebody who does the execution. That's the difference between a beautiful financial plan and an actual working financial plan, is the execution. And too often, if you are actually sitting down with a financial advisor, it's because you have so many other things going on in your world that you need somebody to handle this, manage it for you, so that you can be awesome in all the other areas that you already have a skill set for. So, I mean, it's just, it is the difference. It's the execution.
Yeah. And I mean, do you guys, I mean, I feel like I've been getting phone calls from financial planners for the last 20 years, you know, just like, you know, because there's a lot of that out there. Like on a different note, like how do we pick out like a good financial planner that's going to match with us? I mean, do we just interview a bunch of people, or do we get referrals? Or I mean, I guess like
the game plan for that is you need a fiduciary, which so fee only. I've been fee only for the last since 2010. Prior to that, I was with Goldman Sachs, and so that was a different environment. But fee only, you can have some that have a little bit more of a, and what I mean by fee only is, you know, they do a quarterly fee based on your AUMs. Some may sell, if you're fee only, you cannot sell insurance. You cannot sell annuities and put that profit in your pocket, because your advice is then somewhat compromised, because you've got a benefit to, oh, you know, hey, here's this annuity, and oh, by the way, I'm going to pocket 7%. So fee only is going to be in your best interest. That being said, there are some financial planners out there who are not just fee only that I know are good, but you can look at NAPFA, NAPFA, for it's a network that will give you a list of all the fee-only financial advisors in your area and near you. After that, you can kind of pinpoint, you know, female, or if you work better with a male, I mean, whatever the case may be, that kind of thing. But a referral is really, I mean, if you can have a good trusted friend of yours that says, hey, I've been working with so-and-so for 15 years and this is where you go. That's going to be the best, because I mean, at the end of the day, interviewing new financial advisors, they're always going to put their, you know, they're going to put their best foot forward. But what does it look like in a year? And are they doing the execution for you? That what I say is the differential.
Great. Okay, well, we're gonna have a shorter session today, because we actually, and hopefully this will be up on the LeGALS site, and we'll share it on all of our sites. But it was great talking with you guys today, and we always do a one-word close. So if you guys want to go around the room, I'm just gonna start. My one word is determined. Do you have a word?
No.
Okay, you can go. Like, who wants to go next? You go after. You're muted.
Motivated.
Okay.
That is definitely my word, or that for this session. Brandy, I think this area is what most of us really lack in business and in our personal life.
Yeah. Alyssa?
I'm going to try to be better.
Okay, we all are.
My word of the day is girl power. I've like had the best day. I've met with you guys, and you guys are strong women. I had another like business marketing meeting today with some other strong women business owners. So girl power is my word of the day. I've just had the best day with you guys and a bunch of other women entrepreneurs. So it's been a good day.
That's amazing.
Feeling excited about it.
So.
Perseverance. There is no problem that can't be worked through.
Yeah, there's a book by Marie Forleo. It's called Everything is Figure Outable. I love that.
I love her.
Oh, I know. I love her too. I know. She's great. Yeah. There's so many
You're
great
edible.
people. You know, I feel like when we're down and feeling, there's so many great, like, just little like snippets of podcasts and books we can just pick up and like literally lift our spirits. Because, you know, life is hard. Life as an immigration lawyer under Trump is very hard for me. And
I really think like the freedom comes as being an entrepreneur is you have to just let go of what everyone else thinks.
Yeah.
You really have to make it your own.
You know what? That's a good advice for life.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right, for life. But I mean, that has been the most freeing thing for me in everything that I do is, you know, just not caring other than the people that are close with me. You know, like I just, it has been so freeing because we feel judged all the time, and it weighs you down, and especially as a young woman. Oh my God, I think about like going through all that whole. I'm like, how did I make it? It's
I know.
hard.
Yeah.
And even more so now, I think, you know, especially, you know, I know we're on social media, but, you know, I think, you know, people see that, oh, you have a perfect life and this looks so perfect. And it's like, don't compare yourself. You know, I mean, everybody has their own story, their own path. And I mean, that's what I love. I love talking to other entrepreneurs. We have similar struggles, but then, you know, everybody's path is different, and it's wonderful. I love this.
Yeah, well, we love talking to you guys too, and you know, hopefully we'll have all of the technical difficulties straightened out, because I was running in here late to do this anyway, so I didn't give enough time. But that's what happens when you're doing everything. So.
I'll say one of the other things I learned as a new business owner is I never realized how awesome an IT department was.
Oh. Oh, I've got a great IT guy if you need one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's just, I have a new one on call, and he's awesome. I know I've made a lot of changes in those and things, like just delegating to others. It's like, that's a thing, delegate. But anyway, it was great to see you guys. Everyone, happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
And we'll see you guys next time.
See you.
Cheers.
Bye.